I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon this threatening letter that basically said, we're going to arrest you if you platform Donald Trump, who, by the way, is the likely next president of the United States. So, what America should be saying is, oh, if NATO wants us to continue supporting them, and NATO wants us to continue to be a good participant in this military alliance, why don't you respect American values and respect free speech? Excuse me, it's insane that we would support a military alliance if that military alliance isn't going to be pro-free speech. I think we can do both, but we've got to say American power comes with certain strings attached. One of those is respect free speech, especially in our Europe.
He's like, no, you have to let people say and do hate crimes. Like, you literally, it's not even just about like American free speech. You have to be able to openly sig heil in Germany if you want our support. Now, of course, that's really fucking stupid for him to say, because like obviously our loyalty to NATO goes above and beyond and far beyond whatever like either party is fucking saying at any given moment. As you know, there is always bipartisan support for American imperialism, and NATO, of course, is one of the most consequential vectors of said imperialism.
European allies, like, look, I'm not going to go to some backwoods country and tell them how to live their lives, but European countries should theoretically share American values, especially about some very basic things like free speech. The leader, I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon.
That's awesome.
Because Donald Trump believes, Kristen, let me finish this point, Kristen, and feel free to follow up. Donald Trump is the only person who brought Springfield to national attention, and is the only president who's going to fight for the residents, not just their right to live.
What's really funny is Donald Trump brought Springfield to national attention, and also now they're getting bomb threats. It's kind of wild that he's just like saying, this little town that fucking sucks and I hate them, even though they're my constituents and I haven't served them well, is now in prominent display of the entire American Nazi movement. And now they're just getting consistent fucking bomb threats. Why? Because I fabricated stories about the Haitian migrants there, you know, in an effort to get people to pay attention. What did they do after they started paying attention? Bomb threats.
Safely in their communities, but for their right to complain about what's going on in their own community. I think it's disgraceful that Kamala Harris has heard these complaints, has decided to call people racist instead of actually trying to make their lives better by undoing her open border. But I know you had a question.
Well, and Senator, again, because we're almost out of time, but Haitian immigrants are saying they're afraid for their lives. I want to shift to another topic. I've been talking to allies of former President Trump who are frankly 20 in place. What I hear you're saying is Obamacare stays in place. Let me move to another topic. There was a lot of attention, as you know, this week on former President Trump's baseless claims about migrants eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, claims you first shared online, Senator, earlier this week. Local authorities now say there have been no credible reports of migrants hurting pets or animals. And in fact, neo-Nazis are now taking credit, frankly, for pushing these rumors mainstream. Why are you continuing to double and triple down on these baseless claims?
Well, two important points here, Kristen. First of all, I have heard firsthand from...
It's like two important points. One, those neo-Nazis are my constituents. Two, weirdly enough, those Haitians are not my constituents, even though they technically are. Two important points. Have you considered that I'm a fucking Nazi?
Multiple constituents, people who made 911 calls a month ago, a year ago, who were making these complaints. I trust my constituents more than I do the American media that has shown no interest in what's happened in Springfield until we started sharing cat memes on the internet, which is disgraceful that the American media ignored this town. And that's the most important part.
Bro, you're the senator of Ohio. Springfield being in a fucking state of disrepair is like directly your fault. It's so weird. Like, how are people just acting like he's not the senator? Dog, you are not some random guy. You are the fucking senator, dude. Like, beyond the goddamn mayor, okay, and the governor, you're like the third responsible guy. Okay? You and the fucking representative representing whatever district it lands on are the guys who are responsible at the federal level to bring back funds to Springfield. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, how are you just openly shitting on your own state? Why is nobody asking this question? Are you talking about Kamala Harris being the fucking border czar? Okay. And that's valid. I mean, the arguments that you're launching against Kamala Harris are invalid, or the arguments against immigration are invalid. But using that, saying that, like, she's the border czar, she's responsible for the problems that I perceive of immigration, like, okay, well, then you're the fucking czar of Springfield, dog. You're the fucking Ohio czar. Except you're not the Ohio czar. You're the Ohio senator, the term we actually use. You were voted. You're voted into power.
Kamala Harris's open border, Kristen, has led to skyrocketing housing costs in Springfield, rising rates of crime, rising rates of communicable diseases. They have dropped 20,000 immigrants into a town of 40,000, and it's caused a host of social problems. And we should be talking about why Kamala Harris has done this to this small town, and the media and the Democrats ignored it for an entire year. Kristen, I was talking about this on the Senate Banking Committee months ago. Nobody would pay attention to it until we started.
The other question I would ask is, it's your state. You're lying about them spreading communicable diseases. It's like insanely racist that you're saying that. But also beyond that, it didn't seem like you had an issue with bringing in migrants from other states into your project that you launched in Appalachia, the startup farm project that you launched, just like you didn't have a problem underpaying the employees at the time, and then also replacing them with migrant help. So which is it? Like, what's going on here? Because in your personal life, you have done this. You've done the thing that you're complaining about in Springfield, and especially in Springfield, there was a need for extra hands. There was a need for help. That's why the Haitians went there. Whereas you brought in a startup to an area, and then you bust migrants into the area specifically because you didn't want to fucking, you felt like the white Americans weren't doing the job.
Started sharing the 911 calls of people in Springfield saying the migrants are eating the geese.
And yet,
I think that's really, really shameful that no one cared about it or paid attention to it.
And yet, Senator, officials, the mayor, other local officials have said there's just no evidence of what you're saying, that it's baseless, those claims. Can't you just make your argument about immigration without making those claims, Senator? Why not just make an argument about immigration? Why do you have to delve into repeating these baseless claims that, again, Senator, have been repeated by neo-Nazis?
Kristen, I hear you saying that they're baseless, but I'm not repeating them because I invented them out of thin air. I'm repeating them because my constituents are saying these things are happening. I mean,
but
just
no
yesterday,
evidence.
A video came out of a migrant 30 miles away eating a cat. Clearly, these rumors are out.
I like that he just like quintuples down with more fake shit. He's like, no, dog, that's not a real thing that happened. You saw a video, and because you're so goddamn racist, you went with, well, racist and also fully aware that no one will actually care in your constituents. The worst part about it is that, like, this is a solid thing to do for immigration. There are so many parts of this country that are in a state of utter disrepair. And, like, the real goal should be integration programs and, like, allowing a lot of these migrants to go there and, like, revitalize these towns. It is a success story every time it happens. There's not a single fucking instance where, like, migrants came in to a state or a city and then that fucking city went to shit. It's actually capitalists that leave the town behind that turned this into a state of disrepair. That's why there's so many forgotten ghost towns in this goddamn country. And then migrants come in and then they work the jobs, and there's, you know, they are the necessary labor force. And then the town starts increasing its taxable revenue, which is exactly what happened in Springfield. 33% increase in taxable revenue in Springfield, Ohio, year over year. Okay. And then now they have more funds. If they don't use all of those funds on the police, even though they usually do, some of those funds go back to fucking community programs and things of that nature, fixing the potholes and the like. Okay. And slowly but surely, these towns actually end up revitalizing themselves. This is precisely what happened in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. This is what's happening in Springfield right now. But these guys are so fucking racist. These guys at the tippy top, Mr. Mine Lolly, right here, They're so fucking... I mean, J.D. Vance himself is just doing racism for a very specific reason. He doesn't give a shit if someone is Haitian or not. He doesn't give a shit if someone is Indian or not. He went to fucking Yale, okay? He's a goddamn Yale graduate. He had a trans best friend. He called Trump Adolf Hitler like 4 years ago. What the fuck are we talking about? Or not 4 years ago, in 2016, 8 years ago. He's a goddamn grifter. He doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff. He just knows that there are a lot of fucking right-wing idiots out there who will go, hell yeah, brother. It's actually not my boss that's stealing my dollars. It's actually the goddamn Haitian migrant down the street. It's like, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? You're a dumbass. That's it. These guys weaponize racial animus like this to move people away from the main point of contention, like the top of the hour ad break. Okay? They just don't want you to be reminded that at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Okay? J.D. Vance got a former professor to delete a blog post Vance wrote in 2012 attacking GOP over anti-immigrant rhetoric. Yeah, it's the careful, mate. That foreigner wants your cookie. That's the Rupert Murdoch meme. That's it. It's a story as old as time, okay? This is precisely at the heart of the problem. You're experiencing it right now. It's happening right now. So you're maybe hopefully noticing how this works. An example I used to use, or something I used to talk about with like Sweden being insanely anti-refugee, insanely anti-Muslim. And they still are, by the way, but they got this way because of austerity. Okay? They got this way because of austerity. Some of the social safety nets that they used to rely on became increasingly worse. And in that process, a lot of these right-wing charlatans who wanted to make racist, right-wing, anti-immigrant narratives, they flood the market with like anti-Muslim, Islamophobic bullshit. It worked really well. The real problem, obviously, was austerity. It's so funny to think that like this kind of like tribalistic sentiment is the oldest trick in the book, and yet people still just refuse to reckon with it.
Internet for every single thing to get offended by. I'm running for vice president because I think Kamala Harris has been a disaster and we have to undo her policies. That's what we should be focused on. But by the way, when I say we, I mean the American media. Kamala Harris opened the border. She made food unaffordable. We should be talking about her failure as an American leader, not a social media personality who supports Donald Trump.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories.